I'm going to need to put my book down, so KSBY, you want to come up here and move your mic? Thank you. Why would it be here?
I don't know.
And then that one is whose?
Is that okay?
Thanks.
Does that work?
Still needs to.
Or you need this one?
Yeah.
Is that gonna work for them?
Well, I think pretty much.
Do you need that side?
Yeah. Okay. Good afternoon. Violent cold cases never grow cold for victims or their loved ones. They never do. In fact, most of them spend their lives feverishly seeking answers and desperately hoping for justice. The Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office began working on this case decades ago, as have most of the other multiple law enforcement agencies across our state. Over 2 years ago, in a true show of great leadership, Sacramento District Attorney Anne Marie Schubert formed a Golden State Killer Task Force. She then invited prosecutors and law enforcement agents from across the state to join forces in an effort to seek justice for all of his alleged victims. Chief Deputy District Attorney Kelly Scott and Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Detective Gary Kitzman were immediately assigned to this task force. From that moment on, we never stopped hoping or believing that an arrest would be made. On April 24th, at approximately 4:30 in the afternoon, I received that call from District Attorney Schubert. She told me that Mr. D'Angelo had been arrested. My next call was to Detective Gary Kitzman. Just a few hours later, Sheriff Brown sent Detective Kitzman and his team to Sacramento, where they began their investigation of Joseph D'Angelo. Joseph D'Angelo is a suspect who must be presumed innocent unless and until he is found guilty. Throughout the last 16 days, I have been in constant contact with the sheriff's team as they continue to send reports to Chief Deputy District Attorney Kelly Scott and Deputy District Attorney Ann Knudsen. Together, over the last 16 days, law enforcement agents gathered evidence and conducted interviews. We then reviewed those reports and listened to interviews. As a result of this process, I have decided to file 4 counts of first-degree murder with special circumstances against Joseph James D'Angelo. Each of the 4 counts carries multiple allegations. Each of the 4 counts carry the potential for a sentence of life without possibility of parole or the death sentence. The exact date that Mr. D'Angelo will appear in our courthouse is yet undetermined. Mr. D'Angelo is presently in custody in Sacramento. Ventura, as well as Orange County, also have warrants out for his arrest for murder. I will be meeting with the other district attorneys in my office tomorrow morning to discuss this issue. This has been an ongoing discussion that all the district attorneys have been having, one that will not be decided tomorrow. Therefore, Mr. D'Angelo will remain in custody in Sacramento, and we will not be making any further comments either today or tomorrow. I will now open this press conference, but please, no, I cannot, no, I will not discuss any of the facts or the evidence for any allegations made against Mr. D'Angelo anywhere in the state of California.
What happened in the 1979 October attempted homicide case that's being linked to D'Angelo?
I understand what you're asking, and I will not be answering that question at this time.
Can you say when these 4 people died?
Well, yes. Well, first of all, there's going to be a copy of the complaint, and it's going to be on our website. I have it here. And on October 27th, 1981, that's charged in count 1 and count 2. Those are the murders of Sherry Domingo and Mr. Sanchez, Mr. Greg Sanchez. Then on or about December 30th, 1979, that's for the murder of Dr. Manning and Dr. Offerman. Yes.
You're a career prosecutor, you're from this community, you've been here a long time.
I have.
Many people have heard the stories about the original Night Stalker, the terror, the sinister nature of all this. Characterize your mood for us, and that it is seeming that this man has been caught.
I can tell you that at 4:30 on April 24th, when I heard the voice of District Attorney Schubert on the end of the line, I began to get my hopes up. And then when she gave me the words that victims across our state have been wanting to hear, I teared up. As a prosecutor, I'm always in search of truth and justice.
And have you heard from any of the survivors, the victims, or the victims themselves connected with these cases?
I have.
And?
And I've heard from them. Can't discuss the content. No, not going to tell you what they said. No. Again, I want to be so careful. I want that presumption of innocence to stay with Mr. D'Angelo, and I in no way want to affect a potential jury in this community.
What are the advantages and disadvantages of the fact that we have this widespread case of maybe bundling everything together and having just one trial, or having separate trials in different ways?
I understand your question. I have a list of priorities. The first one is to address the needs of the victims, their loved ones. The second is for the justice for the people of the state of California in the larger sense. And the third is judicial economy. So when we first look at victims and their families, the people of the state of California, and judicial economy, those are all the different things that when I'm meeting with the district attorney's office tomorrow, when I'm meeting with the other district attorneys here in my office, those are the kinds of things we'll be discussing. Something like this is really unprecedented, but we will all be sitting at that table and we all want the same thing.
Have these 4 murders always been on this case, been looking for this particular witness?
I'm sorry, say it again?
Have these 4 murders that you're prosecuting, are they been part of this particular investigation since their murder?
Yes. They've been part of the investigation since the murder decades ago.
Can you
Yes.
explain the delay?
Hang on one second. Go ahead.
What was it about the evidence that was collected over that 16-day period that kind of crossed that threshold and led to these charges being filed?
What happened during all these decades is the investigation continued. As of April 24th, when Joseph James D'Angelo became the suspect, then the investigation was more a closer examination of that evidence. Yes, and then you're next.
Right now, are you also investigating if he could have been connected to other crimes in the area, such as the Cordova car burglary?
The Sheriff's Department in Santa Barbara, as well as Sheriff's Departments across the state, as well as the FBI, everyone has gotten the word out about wanting to collect whatever evidence they had, hear about any other witnesses, hear about any other cases, because as you've all reported, there are now 12 potential murders, 45 rapes, burglaries, so we know that there are allegations of him being prolific. Now it's a matter of finding out if we know about everything, and then really finding out about the details of each one of those and how they come up to grabs. Yes?
Explain why your charges came about 2 weeks after Ventura, Orange County, and Sacramento County.
I think every district attorney has their own personality, and I think they have their own evidence. I was being very methodical, as I'm sure they were too, but I was looking very carefully at the evidence that we had and the evidence as it was coming in and listening to interviews. And I knew that I wouldn't file charges until I believed, as in all the cases we filed in the Santa Barbara District Attorney's Office, that we can prove the charges to the standard of beyond a reasonable doubt with admissible evidence. As soon as I got to that point, I made a determination to file these charges.
What put you to that point?
The evidence. You're really not going to ask me what evidence, are you?
Joyce,
Tom.
specifically which DAs are going to be here tomorrow?
Yes, Orange County and Ventura County and Sacramento. So that's
the
Anne
other
Marie
jurisdictions
Schubert,
that have
correct.
already
So
filed charges,
Anne Marie Schubert, Greg Totten, and Tony Wakakis. That's so far. And other district attorneys may be getting in touch with us and ask if they could be here. And of course, everyone's welcome.
How long had you been setting up? I mean, it seems kind of like a conference here. How long have you been setting this up?
Which part, tomorrow?
Yeah.
Well, remember, it's only been 16 days, so it was within those 16 days that we've set it up. And I think it's been, the 25th of April, after I first found out about that, I began to reaching out to the various district attorneys and asking for that meeting and asking if they were all willing to come to Santa Barbara.
So are you kind of the mediator here?
I'm the host.
Okay.
Anything else?
It may be too early, but can you discuss possible venues for a trial?
Sure. Santa Barbara, Orange County, Ventura, Sacramento, and those are the ones we know so far.
Joyce, normally when there's a charges filed, there's a clock that starts ticking for the defendant to appear in court.
Right.
How does that work in this case since these other jurisdictions are working?
Okay, there's a complaint warrant, and the warrant then begins, so the timing is not an issue because of the complaint warrant. The warrant's out there, it's in the system, and now it's a matter of when we can bring them here and to begin the trial. So we're fine in terms of timing.
Do you expect to come out with a decision tomorrow after this?
No,
meeting?
definitely not. It is quite a process, considering I haven't heard about the needs of the victims throughout the state. None of us have talked to each other about that particular issue. And then the issue of where the best venue is, if in fact they all come together. And then judicial economy. All of those things are very important when we're dealing with a case this large. But after we have those conversations, I'm confident that we'll be able to figure that out. And when I say figure that out, it means will each district attorney try the case in their jurisdiction? Will they all be brought together and placed in another jurisdiction? Will some, but not all? That will all be worked out. But I think tomorrow is the beginning of a face-to-face conversation, and I think it'll take more time. I don't know how much time, but I've always believed that justice delayed is justice denied, and this has been a very long process for the victims in this case.
Do you have a preference on it being tried all together versus separately?
I truly want what's in the best interest of the cases and of justice, and until I hear from the other district attorneys, I don't. Yes?
Did DNA evidence from either murder scene specifically linked to Angela?
I'm sorry, ask me.
I don't know if you can answer this, but sorry. Did DNA evidence from any of the cases directly linked to Angela?
You're right, I can't answer that question.
Okay.
Anything else?
Have you heard from all 4 victim families in the Goleta area?
We have contacted all victim families in Santa Barbara County, and I haven't spoken to the district attorneys to make sure they did, but before we had this press conference, I wanted everyone to know what to expect. So yes, our office has personally done that. The head of our victim services is Megan Riker-Reinchild. She personally did that. Thank you all very much.